Hey all, and welcome back to New World. In today's video, we're going over the best faction rewards, regardless of what level you're on, regardless of what faction reputation and faction you are a part of, because all the loot is exactly the same. They have different names, but it's the same loot. Some of it is completely terrible, some of it's very good, and some of it is very valuable if you're looking to make a bunch of gold in New World. Now, depending on what kind of experience you guys have in the game, you want to go to your faction member in whatever town you're a part of, open up faction board, and you will see 6 different missions. Top 3 are PvE, relatively easier missions to do, but you do get less reputation and faction tokens for them, and the bottom are PvP. The missions themselves are pretty simple. Problem is you'll find opposing faction members with their PvP flag trying to take you out whilst doing them, and if they do, you lose all your progress in it doing that. But if you do successfully pull it off, there is a nice chunk of reputation and faction tokens you get for that. Now you have different tiers. Different tiers come with more reputation, points, missions, and rewards. If you guys are confused, if you're stuck on 2, a lot of people get stuck because it's not very well explained. It is progression blocked by your actual level in game. I believe the first one's level 24. I think the next one's around about 35, and then it's recommended 50. It doesn't actually lock it on you, but it's recommended that kind of level. As you're going up the tiers, just go into your journal, find, the Marauder, Syndicate, or Covenant mission to level up your reputation. Find it in there. The game doesn't tell you otherwise, just so you guys know. Now, getting into the rewards, there are different tiers just behind my head right now. They are called different things depending on what faction you're on, and you'll find different levels of loot. Now, I'll start with, if you guys want to buy something in the store, go right ahead. Don't let me stop you. These are just my recommendations from my experience playing the game. I personally don't think weapons and armor are worth it at all in the early game. Honestly, they're good items, don't get me wrong, but you're leveling so quickly from main missions, side missions, faction missions, and you're getting a lot of really good loot in the world. It's either on the same level, sometimes even better than this faction loot, but even if the faction loot is better than what you currently have, you're leveling so quickly. If I brought this level 15 hat, in 3 levels, it's going to be outranked, and I'm going to find a white rarity one in a garbage bin. That's going to be a lot better than it. It's going to be outranked really, really quickly. So I personally don't think it's worth the faction tokens. Now, one that's not even opinion based, do not buy iron bullets from this store. It is 5 faction tokens and 50 cents, 50 coins, or 50 cents in gold coins, whatever you want to call it. And that is a complete ripoff. In any store, even 2 weeks into the game, it all costs 1 cent by the actual trade market via other players selling it. Buy it there instead, it is way cheaper. Same situation with the iron arrows. People make them to try and increase their engineering level, so I don't even know why they're in this store, if I'm going to be honest. The other options, there are potions, there are mana elixirs, there are health elixirs. Those are good. Personally, I think they're cheaper in the store or easier to find in the world, and they're not super necessary early on, but they are pretty cheap if you want a little extra boost. Now, items that I personally, this is my favorite item, and they go up in the ranks as you go up in your faction reputation, are Rune of Holding. They're really, really good for crafters. You can make bags out of them, and you can make chests for your houses, which mean you can hold more storage, which is a huge problem I have in this game, running out of storage all the time. So these are really, really helpful. They're also very, very valuable because they're quite expensive and they can make high tier items. So if you either want to just sell these or craft the items that they're used in and then sell those, you can make a lot of coin in New World if you guys want to. The seals are also really good. I personally don't use them early game, but they essentially re-roll the attributes on a set of armor to whatever you want. There's different ones, like this one scales dexterity and constitution. This one scales strength and constitution. So if you want to roll whatever armor you have to a different attribute to really boost your strength, your dex, whatever you guys want, you can use these seals to do that. I personally would do it later on because I'm changing my armor regularly, but honestly, even if you do it early game, it's only like 100 faction tokens and 0 gold. You can do it early game or all throughout if you guys want to. Now, iron chisels, I personally don't use them early game, but they are used to craft tuning orbs, which are used to open up the raids. So they will definitely be useful later on when you start to get to those raids, but right now I personally don't need them. Now, moving into the second tier, you'll find blue rarity gear in terms of weapons and armor. Same situation. Personally, I haven't had any use or need to buy weapons from the store. If you guys want to, or your weapons are quite weak and you're trying to go into a raid at this kind of level, then by all means hit up, get yourselves a better weapon so you can go through those raids or elite zones. But if you can get away with it, you can save yourselves a fair bit of actual gold as well as faction tokens for more valuable items in terms of resellability or in terms of buying craftables, essentially. You'll find better mana elixirs in here. As you go up the tiers, you'll find better potions, whether it be mana, whether it be healing, whether it be corruption elixirs. if you guys are doing corrupted portals, you can either craft these or you can buy them. You can also buy them via the player store, so it's probably cheaper on there. Have a look on your server in your particular area, and then same thing with the Blight Elixirs. Those will go up in tiers as well. Now this is a new item for this tier, the Common Material Converter. This is for crafters, and particularly for one style of crafter. Pretty much what it does, if you guys know what the flux, the tannin, the coarse sandpaper, the crossweave, those items are used to craft other items. If you're trying to make steel, you have to have flux to create that steel. If you want to make high tier leather, you have to have tannin to make that. If you guys are running out of one of them and have a heap of a different one, for example, if you're trying to make flux because you're usually an armorer, but you don't need your huge supply of tannin, you can use that machine to convert your tannin into flux if you guys want to. Now that's incredibly short-sighted if you are trying to craft everything, because if you go to make some high tier leather later on, you're now out of tannin and you've wasted it via making it flux, and you're gonna have to go out and loot anyways to go get that, or you can buy it via the store if you want to. But if you guys are part of a bigger group, or if you're just specializing in one craft for yourself, you can convert those materials into other materials via this machine. These do go up in higher ranks though, so if you can afford it, I'd probably buy the higher tier one, because I'm pretty sure it has a better chance to convert it more often. Now moving into tier 3, honestly it's a continuation from tier 2. It's still blue rarity items, same deal. If you can find better loot in the world, I'd recommend it, because I still don't think it's worth at this level. New items are gem setting pins. I personally haven't used these yet, but I believe to my understanding they just add on to armor to give it an empty gem slot, so you can chuck on gems if you are a jewel crafter or just buying them via the store. You can use this. I personally am going to leave that to later game. I'm not really modifying my army yet. I don't think it's necessary. I'm finding pretty good stuff as I'm going, and I'm replacing it pretty quickly as well. You're going to find higher tiers of Rune of Holding, again more valuable in the store, or can make better tier bags and chests if you guys want to. Same situations with the potions, they are just worth more. Again, check out your particular store if it's better to buy them there. Same situation, you can find star metal chisels in here, very expensive, but you are going to be getting into some raids at this level. You're probably at Starstone, you might even be at the depths by now. So if you or your group, or you as just a solo, are running those to farm them to get better gear, you'll want to make these buy these chisels to make the tuning orbs. The Advanced Material Converter is here. It's pretty much just an upgraded version of the original one, and then there's also dyes. If you want to be completely green, completely purple, completely yellow, you can buy that via there. It's pretty cheap if you guys want to do that. Now tier 4, this is where the really good stuff comes in. I personally haven't brought any of the weapons or armor yet, but honestly this is kind of where it starts to get worth it. This stuff is really good, but it is very expensive as well. If you probably noticed, 24,000 tokens plus 450 gold. If you can see at the top right here, my faction tokens is currently at 15,000. As you're leveling your faction reputation or rank, you'll be able to hold more faction tokens. So make sure you don't cap it out and start wasting it, because I think the first rank you can only hold like 5,000 tokens or whatever it is. You'll be alerted if you're getting close to your faction tokens cap. Make sure you don't keep redeeming faction missions, like the rewards for them, because if you go over your cap, you're not going to get those tokens back. So make sure you spend it on something, even if it's just for a weapon for 1 or 2 levels. It's worth spending it rather than just wasting it, because you're not going to get it otherwise. Now same deal pretty much. The potions upgrade, the Rune of Holding upgrades, the Masterwork Material Converter is now a thing. That thing sounds fancy, but it's pretty much the same deal but upgraded. This here though, the final 5th tier, the Commander rank for Marauders, is where it gets really spicy though. All of this stuff, I would honestly recommend all of it. It's really good. It's all level 60 gear, so you're not going to be outranking this with your level anymore, and there are some really good items. There is different sets of armor. It is extremely expensive, but again, you're not going to outrank it, so it's definitely worth it now. All of the gear in here, or at least most of it, comes with a full set of Constitution, so you can be using your seals from the original tiers if you guys want to re-roll whatever attributes are on your armor. If you guys want to, you will find better armor and better weapons in the endgame raids, but this is a good way to get into those endgame raids and not be super underleveled. If you want to have a decent build going in, this stuff is going to really help you out. But you can find higher gear score and higher damage weapons and armor in the raids and whatever endgame activities you guys are doing. The final, I don't think there's too many craftables in here. The Asmodeum Chisel is the final one. I assume that is the highest tier tuning orbs. craftable. There is not the rune of holding in this area. There's not the potions. Those have all maxed out at the previous level. But honestly, I would recommend all of these weapons if you guys are starting out, depending on what setup you guys have. If you're a fire staff user, life staff user, I would start off by buying one of these at level 60. I'm personally going to, just so I have a good basis to start off with, because you're not going to outrank them. It's kind of the best stuff you can buy for your faction tokens. It's just very, very expensive. Now, if you guys came here for the very best faction item in the entire store, I think we can all agree the Marauder Commander headwear of the priest is the best looking item in the game, and I think we all need to be buying this at level 60 because the style is just, it's unbeatable. And that is my guide to the best faction rewards. Hope you guys found the video helpful. If you did, don't forget to smash subscribe and that like button on the way out. If you guys want to check us out over on Twitch, we're streaming over there pretty much every night. It's linked in the description down below. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Catch you guys next video and I'll live stream. Till then, adios.